This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Build a site, start a store, you name it, we got it. The call has gone out. I've summoned the trash, and now we can build this thing. Every terrain piece needs a base. This jar thing will work. I might want to go tall, so it's a good idea to weigh it down. Let's use a rock. With the base done, it's time to think about what will rise above it. Sure, I could take some of these cardboard tubes and add some vertical pipes, but that's boring. This slightly interesting bottle with a rounded top can be placed in at an angle. Now we're talking. Gotta obscure the thread lines on this base. It's important to hide the bit origins. This inner portion of a coffee lid will work nicely. It even has some surface detailing that looks kinda like metal reinforcement. To let the bottle sit into this base, the top will need to be lopped off. Before gluing it in, I should add something to break up this big plain surface. This large-scale twist tie has a nice ridged texture. I'll glue that around the top as some kind of banding. Now I attach it at an angle. Time to think about what else is going to go in this thing. These mini contact solution bottles, which are the squats of the contacts world, have a good shape and diameter, with cool angles and not too many large boring surfaces. A truly quality bit. Three-dimensional branding is the mold line of the junk bashing world. Gotta shave those off. Get rid of the threads too, and maybe throw in some rasping to treat that surface. Oh, whoopsies. Shaving and rasping went a bit far. A quick patch, and this is ready to go on. I'm really trying to preserve the modularity and have good compatibility with my other pieces, so after a quick height check, the bottle gets glued on. This piece will end up being the height of 2 of my round risers. Time to detail up that bottle. I've got this water bottle handle thing which has a few elements to it. First I'll snag this beam looking thing and add that as a vertical support, saving the big round piece for later. A sock hook here, and then, you know what, the threaded top of the bottle isn't so bad, it just needs some help. A coffee bag vent on the end, and then nicely angled as some kind of spout should work nicely. Someone asked where I get these coffee vents. Take your empty coffee bag and take a peek in there. Boink. Still smells like maple. And bonus, most coffee bags have a ridged twist tie too. So there you go, mysterious commenter. Someone else asked me where I go for domain names. Boy oh boy, do I got you. By now I'm sure you've seen the masterpiece of a site which I easily made last time, but Squarespace isn't just a great place to set up a web store or sweet gallery, it's also the best place to get a domain name. Yeah, when I made this site, the domain was initially some randomly generated gibberish like Dear Turkey 1620. I need a real domain. Let's see if it's available. Hey, alright, great price too. But wait, I've got that discount code. Can I... It worked! 10% off, 10%. This could be you. Head to squarespace.com/scratchbashing to try out their site building tools for free. And if you sign up or purchase a domain, you'll get 10% off. I mean, that's a steal. I wanted to have a squarish enclosure around this spout, so I split this bread tab to make the framework. The handy rivet punch here to pre-detail it. Remember these printer ink packages? They worked well in my previous Necromunda builds, so it's time to bring them back. Kinda. I slice off this one interesting smaller section to add up on what I'm going to call the reservoir. Ooh, that is nice. Now some cylinder detail. As is tradition, I'm using this takeout butter tub, which is objectively a terrible flimsy material, and I will push it into the round part I cut off that water bottle handle earlier. I also secretly put some glue in the butter tub to give it some strength. Okay, bloop. Now I'm gonna call this big part the vent. Since the vent looks so cool now, the reservoir needs a cap too. This cork containment device looks real nifty just placed on there. And how about a screw? Sure. Alright, now I'm thinking about balance, and not in the sense of toppling over, but rather the balance of the visual composition of the piece. I determined that there needs to be something in this spot, right here. The limiter put in place by Big Olive Oil stuck into this contact lens solution lid makes an interesting machine component, kind of like a fan and vent on the vent. Since I'm concerned about adhesion on this smooth surface, it's time to drill a hole. Attach via screw and then start layering in the tubes. Oh, you really thought I was just gonna put like 2 bottles and some lids and think that was enough? No, bring out all the tubes. A second coffee filter and soap tube to set the stage, then this flexible garden wire for the first of many conduits. Old phone charger, including the USB portion, jumbo hair elastics, nicely banded at the ends with doggy bag rolls. Stick another soap pump in there as a machine component partially buried in the wires. and once a satisfactory density of cables is achieved, I start to band them out with slices of soap pump tube. I do this to contribute to the scale, since cables of this size might not be continuous, but rather made up of several long sections that are connected by tubular joints, I think. I really just did it to add some perpendicular interest to the mess of wires. Pre-spackle priming. Why have I done this? Just to make it easier to see the spots that need filling and extra detail. I want to fill up this square structure with spackle, so I put down this cardboard strip to give me an edge to work off. And besides that, I just apply a filling layer of spackle around the model as needed. First, the solid kind, and then soup. This is a good time to hide the seams in the cardboard dog tubes too. Once that all sets, it gets ground down and or carved out. You don't want the spackled edge to be too lumpy. With the gaps handled, I move into Rivet Town, which is a town I visit occasionally. Rivet application philosophy is as follows. Apply in places that make sense, or that would just be really boring without. I use little glass beads as smaller rivets. They're annoying to work with. I'm not sure I'd recommend it. Anyway, once sufficient rivetage is achieved, leave Rivet Town and head over to Texture Village. I apply this custom paste which I just invented in all the grimiest and leakiest places. Also, I follow the rivet rules. If something is boring and it didn't get rivets, it needs a layer of crud. Prime it up for real, and now the real fun begins. I brew the infamous concoction of Necromunda green, which I definitely remember the recipe too. I certainly don't just struggle and experiment every single time. That would be madness. I use a big brush to brush it on in a big way. Once it's all green, I go in with the off-white for anything that will be pretty much any other color. This is my base layer. Oh, you thought I forgot about large stenciled numbers? Nope. Looks like we're up to 5, so on it goes and we just sponge it up. I think the patrons remember the big numbers too. Patrons. Some of the cables become a version of red, while others take on the tones of yellow. I already have a stencil sitting right here, so the yellow will also cautiously stripe the base of the thing. Patrons. Wander out into the wash wastes, rust style and dark style. After brushing on a layer of water to help it all flow, I just go Insano style with the washes and glazes. Many passes later, and the associated drying time, and we have a grungy machine thing which fits in real nicely with the rest of this stuff. Patrons! Are you enjoying the builds that reside upon this channel? Come and check out the Patreon where I post detailed breakdowns of every project. It's a good way to learn more about my thought process and the hobby in general. You also get special credits and tasty Discord access. Maybe one day I'll build this gang, but until then, I'll just keep on piling the terrain. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next epic build video.